Okay.
What about Fresh? Do you have any critiques for his behavior?
Let us assume for a second that I've called this man directly and given him my critiques of his behavior. But regardless of that, why would that somehow mean that I couldn't have any critiques of your guys's?
Well, we can accept critiques, but what about Fresh?
Sure. What about him? Why would you make a whataboutism? Right now, we're just talking specifically about your purview, how you are viewing the situation and why you view it that way.
So now we're asking
It's always
you.
easy. It's
We're
always
asking
easy
you
to
the
make an
same
office.
question
Hang
right
on,
now.
hang on. I'm almost done. I'll turn the floor over. It's always easy to make an obfuscation and say, what about this person? What about that person? What about this person? But that's really kind of a deflection. Right now, we're just talking about everything from your perspective. And I don't think I've been overly critical here at all. I've just asked you some very, very basic questions about your worldview. Is that not true?
No, that's true. But we would also like to hear
About you.
critiques on Fresh. Like,
Right.
is anybody going to address his bad
I got
behavior?
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got something. By the way, I don't got beef. I really don't. At least from my thing, don't have beef with these guys. My critique would be, you probably shouldn't be blasting girls if they're not on birth control.
I agree.
That's
Even if they
I mean,
are.
it feels good, but you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly.
Especially if you don't, like,
I know you're just
put-
trying to be nice.
Walter,
here.
there's plenty of girls in Miami on birth control, buddy.
Like, he's stupid for that. I'm sorry, but he is. Like, be more
Well, sure, yeah.
responsible.
You're
He's-
just being
Well,
so
but
nice.
hang on.
He's a gambling
Yes,
man.
hang on.
Walter's
Can
a gambling man.
Hang on. Can we internalize that critique, though, Noel?
Yes,
Be
and
more
I
responsible
could be more
on who's
responsible.
in, just his, or
Oh.
also on who else's?
That I could be more responsible on my end. I have no problem
Yeah.
admitting that.
Yeah, so I mean,
This is my first time being single
saying
in
that
9
it's
years.
irresponsible for Fresh to come and you fine, but you also, unfortunately, you are guilty of the same criticism, right? Which is that you are the receiver and allow yourself to receive a man's seed. You're just as responsible as the man for giving it to you. So I don't understand the criticism exactly.
Well, it's not exactly in a woman's control for a dude to blast in them, and I think we all
Is
kind of know
it
that.
within a woman's control to let him stick his penis in her without a condom on?
Yes, that is.
And what would the general resulting thing of that be if a man is having sex with a woman with no condom on? Generally, this would result in what?
If I got pregnant, I would have kept it. Okay.
Yeah, sure,
I
but
would've
what would
taken
that result in,
responsibility.
though? If you allow a man to have sex with you without a condom on, you're not on any birth control, what does that usually result in?
It can result in pregnancy, and I know
Yeah,
that.
it would. Yeah, sure. So you are just as responsible as the person who you're criticizing for the action. It seems to me that this is a kind of a deflection, right? That you're deflecting away from your own personal responsibility in this.
I'm not deflecting. I could admit that I could have been more responsible.
Were you
That's-
okay with
Yeah.
if you got pregnant? Were you okay with having his kid, or would you have not?
I would have had his kid, and if he
So
wanted
you're
to
okay with just having a baby daddy?
No, but if I had been irresponsible enough to get pregnant, then I would have taken responsibility for that.
But it would have been as much your irresponsibility as it would have been
Yes,
his.
I
The
can
thing
ag- I
is,
can agree.
yeah, and if you can admit that, then I'll give the criticism both ways. Tell this guy you should wrap it up, but also tell you that you should close your legs, right? Like, these are fair criticisms both ways, aren't they?
They are, but
Yeah.
also it was discussed beforehand that he should not be doing that, and I told him that's something I don't want him doing.
But you let him do it anyway.
I didn't let him blast me.
Well,
He just did it.
absent him forcing you to, which is not a claim you've made, and in fact you have made sure not to make that claim.
Because
you
he
let
didn't.
him.
He didn't force me down and pin me down. He just did it without, like, it was.
But you knew his
know
dick
how-
was going inside of
I'll
you with no
finish.
Did you,
condom.
okay, so did you tell him at any time, no, you need to go put a condom on before we continue, or not?
No, I took a plan B.
Then no. If the answer is no, then what are you talking about here? You consented to all of that.
Not to him blasting in
Wait,
me.
did you?
Well, but hang on. Even if he didn't, you still have pre-cum and everything else that you potentially have to deal with. Even if he didn't, you're no fool. I can tell you're no fool. You know that the precondition of accepting a man's penis inside of you who does not have a condom on could inevitably lead to pregnancy. There's no way around that, right?
If he's not ejaculating into you, the chances of you getting pregnant are significantly lower than if
But they're still there.
But it's still there if you're listening.
But it's still
to me.
there either way. So, I mean,
It's still
you
there,
not
but-
telling him to go, hey, I'm not going to accept you without a condom on, that's as much on you as it is on him.
Sure.
I don't
but
know how you get around that.
He still shouldn't have just blasted into me without telling me.
Wait,
And
cool.
you shouldn't have allowed him to enter you with no condom
I
on,
agree.
right?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
let's
one
talk
question.
About his
What
part.
on the whole blasting inside thing? Was there any conversation about that? Like, did you, what's the term? Did you say like, but I want you to pull out, or?
I literally did not know he was going to do it. He did it, and then I was
Both
like,
times? He didn't know both times? Like he'd already done it once, and then you did it a second time.
It was the first
How do you
time.
reconcile the fact that you allowed him to do it a second time knowing he had done it the first time?
it was the first time that he did it. The first time we had sex, that's when he did it. He
No,
didn't-
you said he did it twice earlier.
said
you
we had
said it was
sex.
two
Had
times.
sex
I
two
said we had
times,
sex
not that
twice.
He blasted at her twice.
So the second time he
No,
wrapped it up,
no, the
or
second
Wait, Andrew,
time
can you
he
center
pulled
up a
out.
little bit?
yeah, the second time did he wrap it up?
No, but he pulled out.
So you still had sex with him the
Okay,
second
okay,
time with
but
no
hang on.
condom.
Yes.
So it stands to reason if the first time he blasts inside you and you let him enter you again unprotected, that you would have the expectation that he may not pull out, right? That seems reasonable, doesn't it?
Well, I think my reaction was enough for him to not do it the second time.
Okay,
When-
maybe.
He
But if
didn't
you
get
let
it-
him
he didn't
enter
get it-
you again without a condom on a second time, you're still running the same exact risk, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Good times. Good times. Trying to think. But there was no conversation like even before the first time you weren't like, hey, I'm cool with not using a condom, but maybe you could pull out. Was there anything like that? Or I think you said it was in the heat of the moment.
It was
and
in the
just
heat
like,
of the moment.
bam, 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 pick you up from the airport, get to his house. 10 minutes go by, boom, right at it. There wasn't anything like, what? How did the condom conversation go? Was it like, was there a conversation there?
Prior to me going out there, which I've said this before, I told him I'm not on birth control.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want children out of wedlock, and I
Yeah.
expect you to use protection. And he knew this. And
Okay.
then in the heat of the moment, things happen. We're both human. It just shit happens sometimes, you know?
So there was no actual in the moment. There wasn't actually like either from you, like, oh, do you have a condom? There was never any actual in the moment, like any conversation on his part, your part
No,
about
because
protection.
at that point I knew, and I
Okay.
accepted, this could end in pregnancy,
Right.
and that is why I took a plan B afterwards, because I don't want children out of wedlock.
Is
Wait.
Plan B in your worldview? Is Plan B in your worldview an abortion?
It's contraceptive, just like how a condom prevents sperm from getting to the egg, so does Plan B.
Okay, so that you wouldn't consider that to be
No,
any
because
type of abortion.
it prevents conception.
Okay,
The abortion pill, however, yes, that is you know,
abortion.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if this is like TMI. Can I ask like what position were you in when he blasted? Because if you were on top, it's like, it's a little harder to pull out. Just, I don't know. I'm just throwing it
I
out
was
there.
on my back, missionary.
Missionary.
So it's not like I could just
Fresh, you're a missionary?
I couldn't just shove him off of me, and I'm not going to because I was
Okay.
attracted to him. You know,
Okay.
like I don't know what else to say. He was charming. You know, I liked
Okay,
him. I was
all right.
attracted. He made
Fair
it
enough.
seem like he wanted something.
Fair
with me.
enough. So just, I have a couple notes for you, then I'm going to pass
Yeah.
it on over to Andrew, and then hopefully soon we'll get the whole panel in on
I'll
something.
be very brief, I promise, and I'm not going to be mean. I do have a few questions.
Andrew's a
No,
sweetheart.
I don't think he's mean.
He's a
I think you
sweetheart.
have
He's my
very
Caucasian.
good questions that make people think. And look, I have no problem taking accountability. I'm very aware of my own mistakes.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
So 1 minute mark, we already went over this. You said that you followed the Fresh and Fit podcast a whole bunch. At 3:30 in the video, the Are We the Victims video, you said coercion is illegal, and we already had a conversation about coercion. 3:50, you say forced her to get an abortion. I don't know, I think I asked Daisy her view on that, but so do you view that Walter forced her to get an abortion?
Myron did.
Wait, hold on. Myron forced you?
Yeah.
Myron.
Fresh and fit.
Myron
Fresh and fit.
forced you.
I'll
How-
answer this. I don't think she was physically forced, but coercion is an actual thing. That's why they have laws on it.
So what specifically did Myron or Walter do,
Well,
which is coercion?
So saying that you don't want to have a kid and that you don't have money for it, and then intimidating her online, embarrassing her, accusing her of being an escort, that's all coercion. You're intentionally trying to
So are you saying
persuade someone.
totality of the circumstances?
Yes.
Because I would like to look at
Actually,
those.
Brian,
wait,
I
hold
can just grant this as being true. Let's just grant for a second that that's true. You would have to give the same criticism the other way for coercion, that she was trying to coerce him to give her something that he did not want to give her
Well,
by this same
she
logic,
provided-
wouldn't you?
She provided the texts and the receipts where he was pretty much okay with her having a kid, that they were planning.
Yeah, right. But I guess the point is that if it is coercion, if it is to say that due to the actions of objecting to the various things that people do, if the other direction is vengeance is being sought, isn't that also in and of itself a form of coercion, saying do this or else?
When it's not pertaining to abortion, yes, that is a form of coercion aside
Yeah.
from the specific act of an abortion.
Yeah, so I would say that wasn't there coercion both ways then?
Sure, both
By
ways.
your logic.
Both ways,
Okay.
but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's not okay for men to try and tell women whether they can have a child or not.
I mean, I think in your worldview it is. I think in your worldview it is okay to even tell people that they can't cheat or men will throw them in jail, right? Let alone have an abortion. Don't you think within your worldview it's perfectly acceptable, in fact, for men to tell women whether or not they should be able to have an abortion?
No, I don't agree with that.
Wait, Andrew, do you mean within her worldview, men would?
Men saying you're not allowed to.
Yeah, men saying
Yeah.
you shouldn't get an abortion.
How do those two correlate?
Well, you're a Christian,
Well, I'm just
right?
saying that you seem to adhere to kind of the idea that men can pass laws on behalf of what is moral or immoral. So the question here becomes, if this is really coercion, if the case here is this was coercive, and you admit that then it had to have been coercive both ways, how the hell do we determine who's right here?
In the case of Daisy's situation, or
Yeah, if it's coercive both
Maybe
ways, if
possibly.
it's vengeance for the sake of do this or else, how is that not coercion? I don't understand that.
We don't know that. Let judge decide, right?
I don't think.
Yeah, no, but
anyone's-
I'm asking her directly because I want to hear her opinion.
I don't think anyone is right in this situation. I think he is very wrong to have deceived her and sell her the dream, and I don't think she necessarily should have taken this online.
Do you
Yeah,
think
but
she's
he
wrong
did
for
wrong
suing her?
first.
Or filing a case?
Well,
against her?
is coercion a first come, first serve, Daisy? Is it a who got to the coercion first is the one who's actually wrong? Or is it that two rights don't make a wrong, that even if somebody did coerce you, it's not okay to coerce them back, right?
He was coerced mentally. She was coerced to do something physical that has a detriment on her body.
Well, but hang on. Couldn't coercion the opposite way, reputational slander, things like this, lead to men doing self-harm the same exact way that Daisy claims self-harm was done to her?
I don't really think that. What was he self-harmed into?
Well, the thing is that if you are coercing a person and it affects their mental illness on the other side, couldn't they easily commit the same type of self-harm that you're objecting to, that you're claiming here Daisy was subjected to? Wouldn't that be the same exact entailment of that the coercion led to her doing self-harm? Why would the coercion the other direction not lead to self-harm as well?
No, they didn't. I mean,
Yeah, I
Have you
mean, it
followed-
didn't, but it
have
could
you-
have, right?
the fact is, it didn't. If you say that he could also
Yeah,
have got her
but it
pregnant,
could have.
right?
But it could. So the thing is like in your case,
Let's just
it
talk
also,
about the fact-
Hang on. In your case, it also didn't have to. You just did it, but it didn't have to. So if the coercion goes the other direction, then it also didn't have to lead to self-harm, but could have.
He
so
didn't have to
what's your
not in
base-
both of us. He didn't,
Right,
he
that's
didn't
right, it's an
have to,
indictment of both
but
of
he
you,
did,
right?
But he did. Did he put her in a risk that she could be pregnant? Yes. Did he make me pregnant?
Wait,
Yes.
did she put herself also, Daisy, at risk of becoming
No,
pregnant?
she didn't because
She didn't put herself at risk of becoming pregnant?
I did. I did.
she didn't ask him to come in, not inside her. That's my point.
Yeah, but Daisy, how do
Why
babies
don't
get
you
made?
guys just can't understand?
Does a man put his penis inside of a vagina for babies to get made, Daisy?
But men
Is that how babies- is that where
the men
babies come
taking
from?
control. The men take in control.
No, I think that
Men-
women
men-
have an equal amount of control for whether or not they
Okay,
open their
now
legs
you're talking
for
about
a
women have
penis, right?
equality.
Wait, say that again? I'm sorry.
So now you're talking about women have equality?
No,
Which
I'm,
you
I'm
never
asking
agree
you
with.
if women have equal responsibility for the action of sex.
We don't. Men are the
They
leader.
don't?
Yeah, we don't. Men are the leader,
don't.
right? Aren't we?
So wait a second. I just want to make sure I got this right.
We can't take
M-
taking control when
So men led you to having sex with them unprotected, and it's their fault. You have no responsibility at all. Is that right?
I don't have responsibility if I wanted the baby, like I would take the consequence.
Oh,
Like,
well,
I
are
don't
men
have
allowed to
the
tell you?
responsibilities.
I understand. So that's true. Men are leaders. So let me ask you this: should men be able to tell you that you can't have an abortion?
No.
Oh well, I thought they were the leaders 5 seconds ago.
Because you said men are the leader. That's
No,
what you guys
did.
are saying.
Those were your words.
That's
Men are the
what you
leaders,
guys
and
are
so
saying.
therefore, because they're the leaders, we have no way to take responsibility for sex. I just asked you if men should be able to tell you if you can have an abortion. You say no.
Yes, men shouldn't be able to, but he did it anyway.
Men shouldn't be able to do what?
He shouldn't be able to tell me to get an abortion, but he did it
Yeah, but can
anyway.
he tell you not to have an abortion? Should he be able to tell you that you're not allowed to?
No, he shouldn't.
No, he shouldn't be allowed to do that. So then men are not the leaders by your own worldview, because you're saying that women have autonomy over pregnancy, therefore they have autonomy and they're gatekeepers of sex, and that's that, Daisy.
I think you just don't understand that women cannot control when the man decided to come inside her. We cannot control that.
Can she control her legs opening and closing, Daisy?
That's different thing. Coming
Yeah,
inside
no, I
a
don't
woman
think it's
and
a
open
different
the
thing.
leg, there are different things.
Well, we
I
know
think
that
you're just playing the words because we understand.
But I mean, you were
Women
fine. You were
understand.
fine with it, right? Like him.
I was
coming
fine
in.
because I wanted a baby.
And he knew that she wanted the baby.
That's my point. That's my whole point. Why are you arguing with this? Andrew, you know he did wrong.
Sex isn't
Like,
also
you-
just
Well,
for reproduction.
let me ask you this: whether or not I think he did wrong.
You
would
just don't
that
wanna
in
admit
any
it
way-
that, 'cause
you
you're
hang
the
on,
man.
but-
You wanna stand in
let's
the red
we'll
pill
just
side.
assume that I think he did the wrongest thing on planet Earth. How does that get you off the hook for your responsibility that he did something bad?
It doesn't. I never.
It doesn't.
I admitted
Exactly.
that.
And-
I
and-
take
and-
accountability.
hang on. Am I here talking to him, or am I here talking to you? So if
Did
I'm here
he
talking
take
to
the
you,
accountability? Did
hang on,
he?
Daisy. I'm almost done, and then I promise I'll give you the floor. If I'm here talking to you, you're the person who I'm talking to, who I'm discussing the
But are we
choices
here to
that
talk
were
about
made
both
with.
of
Hang
us?
on, I'm almost done. You're the person I'm talking to. He's not here. I'm happy to criticize him to his face like I am to you, but it doesn't get you off the hook for any
It
wrongdoing
doesn't.
that you have done just because he may have done something wrong.
As I
Wait,
said,
Andrew, can you
I
just
admitted that, but so far he never admitted anything. Why don't you go talk to him?
Yeah, because I'm talking right now to you.
And you're talking about both of our situations.
Yeah,
right?
but right now
why,
I'm just
why
talking
can't you
about
just
how
admit
you
it?
see the situation from your perspective. So this is how
Yes, I
Daisy,
have.
how does Daisy view this situation? Not how Fresh views it, but how you view it.
But I'm asking your opinion about.
Well, it seems to me like this was perhaps some form of entrapment, ultimately. I don't really see a way around it. It looks to me like you wanted, as you admitted, some sort of revenge on this guy for the fact that this didn't work out. You came in on a student visa. You committed a felony by recording him and releasing it. And then on top of that, as you guys began to get into this, you said that your entire motivation around this was purely revenge related. So Daisy, let me ask you this: from my perspective, should I believe you are credible in any way?
No, you shouldn't. You don't have to.
Okay.
And I don't
All right.
and I don't care if you do or not, because I know what happened and I provide all the receipt, conversation wise, record wise. Anyone who's smart, they would understand. The people who are not agree with me because they are the fan of Fresh and Fit.
You mentioned some
like,
receipts.
You don't have to be agree with me, and you don't have to take accountability for him. And you are not women. You haven't been through what I have been through, so I'm okay with that. You can just criticize me. It's okay. Like I don't mind. I really.